Everybody seems to have coaching advice right now, and I think I have some actual good advice. If I'm Vance Joseph, I walk into that locker room before the Bengals game. I sit everybody down and I say, listen. I'm the Ice King. I'm the motherfucking Ice King, motherfuckers! And if you don't play better, I'm gonna send your asses to the Canadian Football League where you'll freeze. You'll be frozen by the fucking Ice King, and I'm the fucking Ice King. I know a lot of players watch Game of Thrones, so I think that will resonate with them. This episode is sponsored by BetDSI.com, one of the best sports books out there. There's a link in the description, and if you use my code, GOOD25 right now, you're gonna get $25 free. BetDSI is giving you $25 to wager however you want. You can bet on any game in any sport with money I am giving you. So if you win, if you double that money, cash out and, support my Patreon account with your winnings. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win situation. Welcome to That's Good Disarray. I'm Brandon Perna, and I think Broncos fans and media members are getting a little batty. Fans are fighting in the stands. The Broncos marketing department wouldn't let the Mad Fanatic put on a free concert for the fans before the Patriots game. And Vance Joseph and Brock Olivo should be fired immediately. Fire them immediately. Fire them now, because I need to feel something other than a loss, even though technically we'd be losing them. I just want to change to feel like holes are being plugged in the sinking ship that is winning football games. Here's what I believe right now. The Broncos are not saving this season. Even if they were playing well right now, the 4-game stretch they just finished, Chargers, a divisional opponent on the road, divisional leaders in the Chiefs and Eagles on the road, and defending Super Bowl champion Patriots at home, was fucking brutal. That was a brutal stretch, and it came at the exact wrong time for the Broncos. I also don't believe firing Vance Joseph or Brock Olivo right now would fix much, if anything. Maybe you get a win or two, but how the hell does that help this team moving forward? It really doesn't unless you have a guy on the current coaching staff you believe can be a better coach for special teams moving forward. And the only reason you fire Vance Joseph right now is if you honestly think Mike McCoy would make a better head coach, and not just for the remainder of this season, but for next year and the year after. You have to believe that you can replace Vance with somebody who is going to carry this team into the future. You don't find coaches mid-season unless they're already on staff. With that said, I don't believe Vance Joseph or Brock Olivo have done enough or anything to prove that they deserve the jobs they currently have after this season. To me, the easy take is to say, fire Vance Joseph. The team has lost 5 games in a row, and right now, the idea that takes the least amount of thinking and analysis is the fire Vance, fire Olivo ideas. To me, those are off-season changes, because at this point, it might be better for the Broncos to keep losing. It was a season like this that landed them Von Miller, and they are going to need to have some QB options come 2018, both in the draft and free agency. I'd also like to point out that predicting the failure of an NFL quarterback takes absolutely no thought. There are professional members of the Denver media out there who would like you to believe they are smarter than you because they said Simeon wouldn't make it from the start. Oh, they knew the second Trevor Simeon was ripped from his mother's vaginal canal that he would not be a starting QB in the NFL. They told you. Now acknowledge how smart they are. Never trust someone who pretends that they have all the answers. Not just in sports talk, but in fucking life. Am I supposed to be impressed with the guys who said a 7th round QB wouldn't make it as a starter in the league? No. Well, I'm not. I know I've talked about this before in a video. Regardless of where a QB is drafted, the chances of them becoming a big success or a long-term starter is weighed heavily against them. Look at it this way. Andrew Luck, 1st overall pick, Cam Newton, first overall pick. Matthew Stafford, first overall pick. Sam Bradford, first overall pick. Jameis Winston, first overall pick. And combined, those guys have one Super Bowl appearance, and it was for a loss. And those guys were considered the best QBs coming out of college. And they were arguably also good draft picks. Jamarcus Russell, most famous #1 QB draft bust, followed by Ryan Leaf, most famous #2 draft bust. And then you have E.J. Manuel, a first rounder, Geno Smith, a second rounder, Johnny Manziel, a first rounder, Joey Harrington, #3 overall in 2002, coming off the board after David Carr at #1. And guess who started this weekend? Third round journeyman Josh McCown from the 2002 draft. And then throw in 7th rounder Ryan Fitzpatrick, also starting this last weekend. In 2009, the 3 QBs taken in the first round were Matthew Stafford, Mark Sanchez, and Josh Freeman. One guy is still starting in the NFL. He's a great QB, Matthew Stafford, and he has 0 fucking playoff wins. Fucking 0. 11 QBs were taken in the draft in 2009. One still starts. One is a backup in Sanchez, and an undrafted man named Brian Hoyer, who, by the way, has a better shot than anyone I just mentioned being in the Super Bowl this season, backing up Tom Brady. 2006, Vince Young, Matt Leinart, both taken before Jay Cutler in the first round. Guess who's still playing? Jay Cutler. In 2014, the first 2 QBs off the board were Blake Bortles and Johnny Manziel. I forgot Bortles is young because he looks old enough to be Big Ben's twin brother. In 2012, your best QBs after Andrew Luck were all taken in the 3rd and 4th round. Russell Wilson, Nick Foles, and Kirk Cousins. Now, John Elway selects Brock Osweiler in that draft in the 2nd round, and he could have had Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins. Mike Shanahan, by the way, drafted Jake Cutler and Kirk Cousins after he was forced to take RG3, a bust. And my point is this. It's a fucking guessing game, and a guy like Simeon had just as good of a chance to succeed in this league as RG3, Seneca Wallace, Andy Dalton, David Green, who you don't even fucking know exists, Trent Edwards, Brady Quinn, Landry Jones, Derek Carr, or a Johnny Manziel. You don't know until they're given a chance. That's why we still have some hope with Paxton Lynch, right? The one thing he still has is time to prove all of us haters wrong. Do you know how many QBs have been drafted over the last 17 seasons? 217. Most of them never even earned a role as a starter. And most of them are out of the league. So saying Trevor Siemian or Brock Osweiler or Paxton Lynch or even Chad Kelly won't ever be your franchise QB is like saying most adults enjoy coffee in the morning. It's an ice cold take, being disguised as a "I knew it all along, assholes" take. The real work and courage, in my opinion, is taking the time to look at what a guy like Simeon was doing and say he might have a chance because of A, B, and C, and the things he needs to fix are X, Y, and Z. Same goes for Brock right now. In 2 starts, I think you can say he played better than Simeon did in Simeon's last 3 starts. And yet the team had 2 of their worst performances of the season with him as quarterback, which circles back to 2 things. Football is a team sport. It takes 53 guys playing well week in and week out to be good. It takes a smart and unified coaching staff that knows how to lead young men to be successful, and it takes an owner or GM to surround himself with great advisors and scouts, financial guys, to make sure they bring the right people into the organization, stay under the cap, and don't have a bunch of dead fucking money with guys that aren't on the team anymore. Which, even if you want to criticize Elway right now for draft picks and the hiring of Vance Joseph, the team's going to be in a good position in terms of money moving forward. There's no secret formula or easy answer here. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why even as bad as they look right now, I don't think it's fair to put all the blame on Vance or McCoy or Olivo or the quarterbacks. Those coaches actually inherited a team that was 3-5 in their last 8 games in 2016. This team was 3-5 in their first 8 games this season. To me, that suggests the issue is much bigger than coaching. And if you don't give this coaching staff a fair chance, we will never know if they are actually any good. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that they definitely will be good or that they are the right choices for the job. But that's what some of you just heard, isn't it? You heard, he just said Vance is gonna be a Hall of Fame coach if given time. He said Vance Joseph is the black Bill Belichick. He said that. I don't know why he brought race into it, but he said it. He just said Simeon should start again forever. That's what he said. I'm trying to be very careful with my words, minus the F word. I like to throw that fucker around with just total randomness, you know? Every week, the coaches have to make tough decisions. Every offseason, John Elway has to make tough decisions. Every draft, each coaching staff is praying their asses off to the football gods that the player they select turns out to be the right guy. And the right guy is only the right guy if everything works out for him. I mean, in 2015 and 16, weren't both of the Jaguars' first-round picks injured before the season even started? Right now, Andrew Luck is the wrong guy because he's fucking hurt. Teddy Bridgewater is the wrong guy because he's been fucking hurt. Deshaun Watson, wrong guy, fucking hurt. Sean McVay, head coach in Los Angeles, was a guy I'd never heard of. His age told me he'd be shit. Jared Goff's first season told me the Rams would be shit this year, and I felt sorry for Wade Phillips having to go there. The Rams are the highest scoring team in the NFL, are in first place in the NFC West, and look like legit playoff contenders. The NFL is predictably unpredictable. That's what makes it entertaining to me. Kyle Shanahan just won his first game as a head coach. Would he have been a better hire here? Maybe. He would have had personnel that fit what he wanted to do since he and Kubiak run similar offenses. And as much as we all wanted Shanahan, none of us wanted to see anything that resembled that fucking Kubiak offense again, did we? Now people are begging for Kubiak to come back. It reminds me of a Game of Thrones quote about Littlefinger.
But he would see this country burn if he could be king of the ashes.
We fans are the Littlefingers. I will say, Mike Shanahan in drafting Jay Cutler and Kirk Cousins should be someone Elway consults before he drafts another quarterback. He seems to be better than the average QB drafter. The NFL, especially for quarterbacks, is a combination of skill, health, football intelligence, competitiveness, and landing in the right spot that fits what that guy does with the right coaching staff. There is no better example of that right now than Jared Goff. The one thing the coaches can do right now is make practice better. Work until the shit is done right. These players also know what it takes to be successful. Many of them were on the Super Bowl winning team. Some leaders need to emerge, like yesterday. One thing Chris Collinsworth mentioned when Isaiah McKenzie fumbled the punt is that it's harder to catch punts from left-footed punters. I don't know how much harder it is. I used to catch punches. I did catch punches. I used to catch punts, but for argument's sake, let's just say catching punts is harder from lefties. If that's the case, and you're a coach, and you know your returner has been struggling already, and you truly still believe in him, why not bring in a left-footed punter for the week to help him prepare for the game? And it's also completely fair to ask, why was he still back there? He does have 4 returns for more than 20 yards, which is second best in the league, but he also has 5 fumbles, worst in the league. The Broncos aren't making the playoffs, so part of me says, let him play. See if he can fix these issues, and see if the risk outweighs the reward. That way you can make a better decision about him as a player at the end of this season. The other part of me says winning organizations, winning coaches don't tolerate that many mistakes. He's not making an impact as a receiver, and he's causing more harm than good on special teams. Move on, right? The thing is, none of these decisions are easy. I understand why it's hard either way. It's not black and white, but great coaches make the correct, tough decisions. We don't know if we have that. We don't know if these guys can do those things. We don't even know how much power Vance Joseph actually has in making these decisions. I will say this team needs to get back to the basics, the fundamentals on defense and special teams. If those 2 units get back to playing fundamental football, this team will be okay, because I think the offense might be actually trending in the right direction. I don't think it's fair to fire everyone right now because I believe the upside in doing that is almost non-existent. I also believe in saving money when you buy NFL tickets. That's right, this episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. There's a link in the description. If you use my promo code, that's good, you're gonna save $20 on your first SeatGeek ticket purchase. If you wanna go to a Broncos game, you throw in a $20 discount right now. I bet you those tickets are cheap. I bet they're affordable for the first time in a long freaking time. You can also get concert tickets, comedy tickets, SeatGeek, man. I'm telling you, it's the way to go. It's the app you want on your phone to get tickets. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Broncos. Subscribe here on YouTube. Share these videos on Facebook. You gotta share them. You gotta share. You gotta click that share button. Because if you don't click that, Facebook says, fuck this idiot. I ain't giving him shit. Mark Zuckerberg, that's what he does. He calls you on the phone when you're trying to build an audience and he says, hey, nobody shared your video, you little bitch. Fuck off. And then he hangs up and then presumably just burns money to stay warm.